This podcast represents the opinions of our hosts and their guests only. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. Welcome to Once Shattered, Picking Up the Pieces, a podcast devoted to changing the way eating disorders and mental illness are viewed in our society. With your hosts, Jack and Linda Major and Ellen Bennett. Today's guest is Barb Klein. Barb's work is deeply informed by personal experience. Her oldest son, Nate, died in 2023 after a long journey with an eating disorder, substance use disorder, and other mental health challenges. In the wake of this profound loss, Barb has continued to walk a path of healing, using what she's learned to support other families navigating similar terrain. Through her offerings and her work with CMC FFC, she helps families and organizations access the Invitation to Change model, a compassionate, evidence-based approach to supporting loved ones struggling with substance use and mental health challenges. She helps individuals prioritize their own well-being, cultivate resilience, and discover moments of peace, even in the midst of pain. Barb is passionate about bringing compassion, understanding, and love to those impacted by mental health and substance use struggles. Her work invites others to find their way within challenges and grief, reconnect with themselves, and step into new possibilities. To learn more about Barb Klein, visit her website, inspiredpossibility.com.
Welcome, listeners. We're so glad that you're here with us today. First, I'd like to welcome my husband and my soulmate, Jack Major, and our dear friend and fellow advocate, Ellen Bennett. Great to have you back in the studio with us, Barb.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome. This is so fun. You're in studio with us.
Yeah, welcome back. This is great. It's been too long. So.
Remember, the links for today's podcast are in the show notes.
Okay, so Barb, you've added a few new endeavors to your resume since your last visit. You are one busy woman. Jack and I had the honor and privilege to meet your wonderful, bright, talented son, Nate, at an Emily Connection eating disorder support meeting just weeks before he passed. We wish we could have met him sooner and that we would have had the opportunity to have gotten to know him better. He touched our hearts deeply. Since then, you and I and Jack, we've become dear friends. We've met your family, and I can say that Nate was truly blessed with the love of his wonderful parents and brother through the good times and through the most challenging of times.
Yeah. I still remember that night, and it's just, it's forever etched in our mind, and the people that were there with us that night still remember too. So he was such a great guy, and his rap songs were amazing. Oh my gosh!
So I forgot to tell you my quote for this. Set the tone here.
Yeah, okay, you can do it.
It's by Frida Kahlo, and it's "Passion is the bridge that takes you from pain to change." Isn't that nice?
Yeah. That's beautiful.
I think all of us here are, can relate to that for sure. So can you just go back and tell us a little bit about your precious firstborn son, Nate, your wonderful Nate, and how he initially started you on this path to reach out for answers and education and support for him and, of course, eventually for you and your family.
Sure. Yeah, I love talking about Nate, so thank you for the question. Nate is a beautiful soul, full of life, lived loudly, larger-than-life personality from the get-go, and led me to seeking support from the earliest days. Nate never fit any particular model or book or box that we could put him in. So it was an ever-going quest to learn how to love this little boy and this young man, but he played Little League baseball, he skateboarded, he broke his leg and went to Disney World and told Tigger not to bounce too much. This is a bit of the character of Nate. He was funny, he was vibrant, he was artistic, and you mentioned his rap music, and that was one of the ways that he expressed his heart and his soul, and shared himself with the world. And he did struggle. Struggled with school from the get-go, struggled with eating disorder since he was about 11. Didn't know about it till he was about 17. And by then, substance use was also in the mix. And without a lot of good support or guidance out there, we just did the best that we could. Floundered a lot, got scared a lot, yelled a lot, tried to control a lot, and, eventually found ways to take care of myself that helped me get healthier and be able to think more clearly. And then found some programs like the Invitation to Change and recovery coaching that just helped me to look at his whole journey differently and to understand him differently and how I wanted to be in that journey.
And what years did it start?
2009 was the first year we really knew that he was smoking marijuana. He was 16, and I was terrified at that point. I think something inside of me knew that this was the beginning of something more than what a lot of families go through. I don't know how, but on some level it felt that way. Like this is not good.
Yeah.
And then in 2023 he passed.
Yeah.
Sadly, a lot of people can relate, to what you're saying. Where can people reach you if they're listening to this podcast?
Probably easiest way is through my website, which is inspiredpossibility.com.
Our beautiful children who we love so much and who taught us so much. Grief never goes away, but it shifts as time goes by. What are your thoughts and insights on your journey? You've taken your loss and become a crusader for others who struggle. How has this shaped your perspective on community and the world?
It's a big question. But yeah, I guess the gift of grief, as maybe you know, is that it boils things down to the essence, to what is most important.
Absolutely.
It strips away the non-essentials. It has lowered my tolerance, my capacity, in a healthy way, I think. My counselor said, well, what used to be 100% for me is now like 45%. She said, yeah, that's your new 100. So learning to honor that reality and to recognize that everything, I feel Nate's absence every day and I feel Nate's presence every day, both strongly. So everything is a little bit harder, but everything is also motivated by this love and this connection I feel with him and this guidance I feel from him. And that's why I have his picture sitting here right now, because it's like if I get stuck, I'm going to look at him, look in those eyes, and he's going to say, you got it, Mom. But Tom and my husband and I went to this beautiful program in Tennessee last year called Life After Loss. And it was for parents who've lost kids for any reason, any length of time since their passing. And it was so profound, and I would say the most important thing that we could have done as a couple, because it taught us about grief. It taught us about looking at our own journey, and that even though we went through this together and we share this loss, we each have our own way of experience loss. We each have our own way of moving with it. And they also showed a picture of a rock and said, this is your grief. And we often expect the grief is going to get smaller over time. And actually, it's reasonable to expect that grief is going to stay the same. But what you can do is you can grow your life around your grief. And so, to me, that means, the grief is the center of everything. It's always going to be with me. It's not something to get over, or it's not a problem to be diagnosed or treated. It's something I have to live with and honor it day to day. It changes. Some days it's going to take me out. Some days it's going to fuel me. But I also think there's something about that reckoning with the fragility of life that also calls me to this question of how do I want to live?
Mm-hmm. When you use the term a gift of grief, It brought me back to the Anderson Cooper, Stephen Colbert interview. And Stephen Colbert used that same thing, that it was a gift of grief. Yeah.
The more deeply you love, the more deeply you grieve. And it does not go away. But you learn to live with it, and it's different on different days.
It changes you.
It does.
Changes how you view things, and you look at things and what's important, and
it changes your whole outlook on life.
Yeah, it does. And you say your capacity changes, because you listen to other people complaining, right? And what you used to listen to them and try to,
And we probably complained the same way.
But
We
now
probably
it's
all
like,
did that, right?
You just don't have the capacity to.
I think you said your tolerance changes.
Yeah.
It's like there are things that you're just like, really?
Yeah.
Well, for some people, a hangnail is a crisis.
Yeah,
right?
no,
And that's
yeah.
their reality, and you can respect it. But I think that it's certainly living through losing a child is every parent's worst nightmare, and you don't sweat the small stuff so much anymore. You really don't.
There's laser clarity for me on
Yes.
this is what matters. This is what I want to focus on. This is what I want to give my energy to. And in a world with so many needs and so many possibilities of where that energy could go,
Right.
it has helped me to pare down and okay, these are my things. These are my 3 things that I can kind of focus on that are the big themes.
I love that rock in the garden, growing a garden around it. That's a beautiful way to phrase it and visualize it. Well, I love CMC, Foundation for Change, created for people who are supporting a loved one with mental health, substance abuse issues, and for professionals too. I took the training to help me when I first began to facilitate eating disorder support group meetings. It was such a wonderful, kind, compassionate approach that anyone would benefit from learning about. I'd never heard about it until I met you, Barb. So can you share a little about CMC FFC and how you learned about it and what becoming a New York State regional leader will mean for you, as this is a new position?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Invitation to Change found me, I guess, sort of circuitously, as many things do. I started taking recovery coach training in 2019, and that was really the first training that opened my eyes to thinking about addiction differently than what society puts out there. So many stigmatizing, so many negative messages. I went through and got all of my recovery coach certification, and then through different Facebook groups, I heard about this book, Beyond Addiction, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should buy that. And I bought it. I didn't read it. As I do with so many.
Did you skim through it?
Yeah.
No, I put it in a pile, knowing it was there. So it was in my awareness, and then one of the groups that I was liking their messaging, I was liking their approach. It wasn't about tough love. It wasn't about rock bottom. And so those things resonated with me a little strongly. I started listening to that. And then a bunch of those people, this is Thrive Family Recovery, took the Invitation to Change training. So they offered a group that Tom and I sat in on, and I really felt like, okay, this is speaking to my mama's heart. This is giving me permission to be the mother I want to be, not the one that I thought I should be or what I'm supposed to be doing, breaking my own heart with all this other stuff. So I went on and took the training. I think it was around 2020, 2021, got my certification. And what I love about the model is that it humanizes people. Both the people who are struggling and the people who love them and care about them and want to help them. It brings the awareness that behaviors make sense. And as soon as you wrap your head around that concept, my heart opened to compassion and empathy for this person. And it just changed the dynamics. I started leading groups, and really, most importantly, it changed everything with my relationship with Nate. It gave him the opportunity to be seen and heard for the first time. It didn't make me, but it allowed me to step back and really listen and get curious. and honor his journey. And it is revolutionary love, is what I think it is. And none of it is about becoming a doormat. It's how do I take care of myself? How do I know my values? How do I know myself well enough to know what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and my family? But it empowers, it values families and it empowers families. And that is not always the case. And what I think it happens so often is that, first of all, there's not enough treatment available, even if everybody who needed it wanted to go. Second of all, too often people go to treatment and they're there for maybe 10 days, maybe 28 days. And then they're coming back to a family that hasn't learned any skills, hasn't learned how to communicate differently, hasn't learned how to create trust and safety within the home so that you can begin to build a relationship. And when you do that, that changes everything.
And anybody that struggles with substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, and eating disorder, they hold so much inside.
Oh, yeah.
They don't express those emotions, and they want to feel better, and the substance or the eating disorder does that for them. It works for a while until it doesn't work so well anymore, and it just is so detrimental. But I think the communication, I always say that love is the most important thing, and the second most important thing is the communication, and for somebody to feel safe and able to share where they don't feel judged. And if you have to detach sometimes for self-protection, you do it with love. And I think we were very fortunate that, with what we went through with Emily, the love was always there. Did we do everything perfectly? Absolutely not. There are dozens of things I would do differently, knowing what I know now, but a million just the same. But the love was always there, and I'm so grateful that we had that. And I know, Ellen, you probably feel the same way, the relationship you had with your daughter, right?
Yeah,
well,
you had to love them and embrace them where they're at.
Exactly, exactly.
And just accept that there are things we cannot control. There are things, and we don't completely understand. And that realization, absolutely.
And so the invitation to change opens doors and builds bridges. That's what I see. And it's, just that
bridges
invitation.
And understanding.
It's not forcing or imposing what you think you know and what you think is right as a family member, because we do. But it's actually listening.
And, you mentioned tough love and rock bottom. I mean, through, you go to counseling and it's easy for them, the counselor is not going through this journey, this awful journey, to say, well, just get away from it, hit rock bottom,
Well, thankfully, not all counselors.
No, not all, but
we got that advice. Yeah,
it
was
that
terrible advice.
And you hear it from just the people in the community. Could be
that
friends,
judgmental
thing. It's like, well, they got to do it themselves. They got, we were told that. You can't just keep checking on her. You can't keep bringing her food. You got to just.
Yes, we can.
Easy for you to say.
Even before I had any training or we were going through this, I just knew that I had to do what I had to do so I could sleep at night. And that was kind of like where I centered. But I don't think when you're in the throes of supporting someone with an eating disorder that you think about how awful they feel, though they can't express it, for what they're putting you through at the same time. And whatever else that they're going through that, caused them to depend on a substance or an eating disorder as a coping mechanism.
Their personal pain.
Yes.
And what that's doing to them.
And then what they're doing to the people who love them is one more layer of that for them to deal with.
Yeah.
And one more layer of shame and one more layer of confirmation of what a bad person I am, and therefore the cycle continues.
Yeah. But these conversations weren't happening a little while ago. And so it is wonderful that we're here today and able to have these open conversations.
I mean, especially going back to 2009, and stuff, even before that, you were dealing with stuff and nobody talked about it. And there was no place for us to go, So this is it's great that it's out. Everybody's talking about the mental health crisis, and a lot of us just talk. But what you're doing, what we're doing, what Ellen's doing is taking
And I'm
action.
going to add in the element of partnerships. In my experience, I was primarily alone. My ex-husband wasn't there to support. So honoring your soulmates, your husband, your soulmate, and whoever the partner is so important that you're working through this together.
Yeah.
And honor that.
I realized I didn't answer your question about the regional leader.
And I was just going to say, I'm looking at it and I'm going to say, okay, so being a New York State regional leader, how will that change things for you? What's your capacity now?
Well, what I love about it is I feel like it empowers me even more to share the message. So the charge is to help spread the awareness of invitation to change to families, to organizations, to providers, to anyone who interacts with anyone, really. I mean, faith leaders, coaches, mental health, to let people know that this other approach exists. And we want this to become very common and available for families. So helping people start groups in the area. So I have a large part of New York State, Western New York, Finger Lakes, Other Tier, Central New York.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm just starting. So if people want to reach out to me about that, if anybody wants to learn more about it, it can be a short presentation to an organization and just helping them know what's out there, helping them know about the training so we can get more professionals and families trained in the model. So that we can, again, just empower and engage and value families for what they are and what they bring.
So you're one of how many regional trainers?
4 regional leaders. So there's Judy Moffett in the Capital District, and Jamie Cooper is in Hudson Valley, and then we have another woman, Marcella, who is reaching all the Spanish-speaking community across the state.
Across the state.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, we're on the cutting edge of growing and expanding this national organization that has much limited reach based on what it has to offer. So we want to blanket the state and
wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And the trainings are amazing, and the people who created it are the ones who educate via Zoom.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to learn more and join, and that goes for I did the professional training, but it certainly for family members, loved ones, but for physicians, for therapists, for anybody in the mental health field as well. So
anyone, court system,
so many
emergency rooms. Just think what would be different if peer supports, people in recovery themselves were aware of this model. Yeah. School systems. Yeah.
Right. And saw
Lots
the
of opportunity.
person is a human being.
Yep.
Yeah. There. Yeah. Well, everything you're doing is wonderful. And one of the things you started just a few years ago, the Compassionate bags.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And what's in them. So can you just let us know about the Compassionate bag, what's in them, and why you pass them out to the unhoused neighbors in the Rochester, New York area?
Sure. Yeah, I love that name came to me.
Yeah.
It was like, we're compassionate warriors. Oh, wait, my son's name is in there. That's cool. Let's use that. So, yeah, we call them Compassionate Care Bags. The first batch that I made was for Overdose Awareness Day in August 2023, which was like my second yes of after his passing. The first one being coming to talk with you all 3 weeks after he died. And then August, it was exactly 5 months after he passed. They invited me to speak there. And so I made like 20 bags just of loving care, harm reduction supplies, personal care supplies, some clothes. I think those details are less interesting than the main purpose of the bags, which is really to create connection and to help someone feel seen and valued again. Everything I'm doing, I think, is grounded in compassion and care and inclusion. And Nate had many years where he was unhoused and struggling with food insecurity and housing insecurity. And so and would give his last bus pass to somebody, even though he didn't know how he was going to get back home then, you know. So that legacy of love and generosity, even when it didn't make sense, is something I wanted to carry on. So I did that first batch, and then it was Thanksgiving morning of 2023. Nate woke me up and said, Mom, we got to do more. We got to do 111 bags. And I was like, okay. And I sent out an email to my email list, which was mostly my business community, and I had no idea how it would be received because I thought, are people going to be upset that I'm asking for contributions and donate money, donate things? I created a wish list on Amazon so they could just buy and send to me. And
Brilliant.
that was the first effort, and it's happened several times a year since then. I don't know how many, probably 800 at least in our local community. And then other groups have picked up the charge. So a church or a temple, or our niece down in Virginia is now going to be the Virginia branch.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's beautiful.
I mean, that was one of the questions going forward here that, you know, is this spread? And, you know, and are you getting, when you put the Amazon donations out there, you're getting it from people all over. And if it gets shared on Facebook, you know, other people's friends, somebody else who lost a kid will see it, and or somebody who just cares. And I think a lot of people don't know what to do when they see the person with the stein, and they've been taught to look away. And I was that person for a long, long time. You know, I just put the blinders on, and because I'm not supposed to give you money. And ultimately, what I have come to decide is it is not up to me what this person does with what we give them, but if we can give them a little bit of money. We have a card in there with Nate's picture on it that says, you know, in honor of him, and you matter. I see you. You're valued. And on the back is a list of local resource numbers. So I want it to be more than just a quick little exchange of some small things you might need, and more a sign of dignity and respect. And, you know, we put in a notebook and a pen with inspirational messages on them. And it's like, I used to think of those things as niceties. I was like, you try to exist without being able to write down a phone number that you need to call back, you know? So anything we can do to help people. And the beautiful thing is that the people who are handing these bags out are as touched by the experience as the people receiving. The people receiving often say, why are you doing this for me? And it's like, because you matter, because you're... And I have one friend who is fierce for the mission and will seek people out and get out and share a meal with them, sit down. My brother spent Christmas, this is how he wanted to spend his Christmas this year, was driving around looking for people that he could give bags to.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
And it was beautiful.
Yes.
And he would never have done anything like this before, you know, so it's opening hearts and souls and again, building connection.
Connection. The loss of connection that people just...
people need to feel like they're part of something, that they
like
matter.
they matter.
These are just
Absolutely.
basic human needs.
Yeah.
Everybody can do something to help somebody else. There's so much opportunity
And we're
need.
all born with the fear of being alone. We're all born with the fear of abandonment, you know? It's just,
whatever you can do.
Yeah. So I think people are appreciative of the chance to be part of something like that.
Yes.
Something meaningful and something where it's not just going to a big organization that serves people, but it is direct person to person transfer, you know.
that
It's
human
a gift,
connection.
a gift of love, where you look somebody in the eyes and you say, this is for you.
Yeah. When our children or loved ones struggle, we are faced with some incredibly challenging decisions. How to help them, even when they may refuse. As an adult, letting them live on their own terms, meeting them where they are. Often we are left feeling abandoned, not sure where to turn or how to navigate, and perhaps knowing our loved one's life is hanging in the balance. And that is terrifying. As you reflect on this, what helps you keep moving forward? Probably your compassion and all the things that you are doing. But you do need to move forward.
So are you asking for other family members that might be going through this? What can help them keep going?
Yeah.
I think, you know, this is, like I say, when I thought about this conversation, everything came down to these questions of how do I want to live? Who do I want to be? how do I want to show up? And I think I did come to this before Nate passed. I came to this notion years before that, first of all, he may never choose recovery. He may never find recovery. And so what if I stop trying to save his life and I love him as he is for as long as he's here? I mean, that was 5 years in my consciousness, at least. And then really honoring their journey and learning that we don't have the answers necessarily. And so I think take care of ourselves so that we can be healthy and strong and open to new ideas and perspectives. It creates a little bit of separation. If I'm not healthy, if I'm in fear, I am reacting, right? That's all I can do. So I have to create some space, some pause, some opportunity to slow down enough that I can breathe, that I can hear my son, that I can... Yes. And again, the opportunity is there, right? I said to Nate in January of 2023, I'm afraid you're dying. And he, of course, said, what, Mom? No, I'm not, because I think he didn't believe.
A terrifying conversation. No.
Right. But
no, I'm going to push through this. I'll be okay.
Absolutely. I'm never going to put you through this, Mom. But being able to have that conversation with him, Ellen, and being able to say, if you are, then what quality of life do you want to have? How do you want to live? What matters to you? And what matters to me? And this is where everything changes, because my goal is not now to get you into treatment. My goal is to love you.
To love you.
Is to, and one of the women in our Invitation to Change group said that this week. I want to love my child as he actually is, which means I need to get to know him as he actually is. So it's letting go of what used to be, what might be, and meeting what is here in this moment and showing up from my core and my heart and my love, and really honoring and respecting them. And I know there were times I met Nate where he was like, wow, you've never... I said something to him like, you've told me I don't know what's going on in your head. And he's like, no, you don't. You have no idea. And I said, and you've told me that this always brings you peace. You've told me that for 13 years. He said, do you think maybe it's time you listen to me? I said, yes. You'll hear things you don't want to hear, but when you open those doors to communication and your person starts to trust you enough to talk with you, then we get beyond the lying and the manipulating and the things that we so often pin on people who struggle in these ways. And we understand maybe we've put up some barriers to communication and connection in the past where they've had to lie and manipulate and do what they were doing to survive. I don't even want to put those labels on it as manipulation or lying anymore, but it's just starting to really understand everything differently.
Yeah, and that's so important. Thank you for sharing these, because anyone who's working with someone who has a loved one, you're facing these challenges.
Yes. Can I read a poem here?
Sure.
I think it goes along with the last two questions. So I meant to do it when Jack asked his. But this is called Look Through the Eyes of Love.
And it
is from my book, 111 Invitations.
That's kind of important. Yeah.
Step into the full richness of life. Thank you. So look through the eyes of love. Do you see the goodness all around you? Or are you blinded to it all, shrouded in anger, judgment, and hate? Open your heart to open your eyes that you may see from a different view. The landscape remains the same. It's the one seeing who changes. If you seek the light, the beauty, and the glory in people and places, then that is surely what you will find. Likewise, the dark, the negative, the quote-unquote wrong. Take a step back and notice from which vantage point you choose to experience life. If you don't like what you see, choose again. Open your eyes from a place of love. Let your heart lead you and wonder at the mystery that has eluded you for far too long.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Wow. Thank you.
What was the name?
I highly recommend
What was the name of that book again?
111 Invitations.
The name of that book is 111 Invitations,
Yeah.
recorded on audio right here in this studio.
Wonderful, wonderful book.
Thank you.
Okay, so Barb, you're known as a possibilitator. And when I typed up the questions to this podcast, it said that wasn't a word, but it is a word. And it describes you perfectly. So this word emphasizes the importance of embracing new perspectives and possibilities in life. There are times for everyone, though, when that seems impossible. What have been impactful things that helped you in getting through the darkest of times? And I'd like you also to talk about your retreats at Light on the Hill in Van Nant, New York. Ellen and I have been privileged to attend them, and I highly recommend them. So can you just share?
Thank you. Yes. What am I sharing? What's gotten me through the hardest times? So again, this is where I'm so grateful I had practices of self-care, of mindful presence, of knowing to pause and breathe and reflect and get to know me. Without those, I don't know. I don't know where I would be today. I have done the practice of morning pages, which is a Julia Cameron thing from The Artist's Way. 3 pages first thing in the morning, and I've been doing those for 12 years now. Every morning, they help me process life. They help me get to know what's going on, to the point that I did them the day after Nate died. I didn't even remember I had done that, but when I went back to see, I was like, oh my gosh, this is how strong this practice is for me. And I don't do it because I'm disciplined. I do it because it works. So meditation and yoga are things that get me into my body and my breath, being in nature, really leaning into finding gratitude and beauty every day. You know, that puts me in a place of wonder and awe and reminds me that that's very real too, right? There's so much dark and scary in the world that it's really important that we step back and notice those things as well. Those keep me going. The retreats are different every time. Hard to explain because we meditate, but they're not a meditation retreat. We do yoga, but they're not a yoga retreat. They're a beautiful blend, I think, of sacred time to connect with yourself, with other women who are there. But we also have outbursts of joy and outbursts of revelry. I don't know what the word is. You know, so it can be serious and deep, and it can be light and fun. And we dance every morning because I know moving energy is important. Grief movement is something I have found, and that gives me an opportunity to go beyond the thinking and the writing and the speaking about the grief. It gets me into my body and gives it a way to express, like through my voice, which I did not know it needed, but that's been really important. Yeah, and I just love the retreats. I mean, they really are a extended pause to step out of the ordinary, the day-to-day, and just to quiet the noise and be able to listen within to that inner wisdom. And music is such a big part of it. Music, poetry, movement, all of that weaves in there. And
it's such a beautiful setting, too. It's Light on the Hill in Van Nant, New York.
Yep.
And
the next one is in September.
So we're having
having
another
2.
one in
Yeah,
September.
and it's called Come Home to Yourself.
Oh,
2 this year, yeah. I used to do 4 retreats a year, so I'm just getting back to a little more of my rhythm.
wow, that's great. Well, I highly recommend them if you just want to relax, get in touch with yourself, just get recentered again. I love Come Home to Yourself. And the one that we just did was, what was the name of that
Rooted and Rising.
one? Rooted and Rising. That was really nice, too. So very good titles.
So what was that? The morning pages that you do? So you just Google that, morning pages. Is it different every morning?
Yeah.
All you do is you just start writing in a
It's-
journal, whatever comes into
Okay.
your head.
It's a Julia Cameron practice.
Okay.
So Julia Cameron is the author of The Artist's Way.
Okay.
It's originally created for writer's block or something like that. It is 3 full pages of stream of consciousness writing.
Okay.
So you get up before you meditate or anything, you just write whatever's on your mind. It doesn't have to be pretty or inspiring or beautiful. theoretically, you're not supposed to share it with anybody. Oftentimes, these become my blogs, or they become what I'm, weaving into a group or retreat. I have a friend who loves me to read them to her, and when I do, it's like, oh, I learn a little something about me too. So I don't follow that rule because I'm a little bit of a rebel.
Well, when you put the pen to the page like that,
And just keep writing.
it's amazing where you go.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Because you've tried it,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
I'm not as disciplined as you. I'm going to start again tomorrow.
There you go. I highly recommend it. And one of the women, when I was at a workshop with Julia Cameron, said, I've been doing the pages for 12 years or 17 years or something, and the pages can hold what another person can't. So that's the other thing. It's a safe place to just pour your heart out.
Just remember, Barb, I'm a work in progress. So
Aren't we all, honey? Aren't we all?
I got the notebook and put it on my nightstand.
Step one, Ellen.
I know. Oh, God.
It's still there.
Well, again, you are all about healing and growth and helping people you work with. Who have been your mentors?
Well, Renee Trudeau was the first woman that I went on a women's retreat with, and that was back in 2014. And she'd written a beautiful book called The Mother's Guide to Something Wonderful, which I'm not going to remember right now. But it was all about self-care, and it was eye-opening and life-changing. That was the first year that a friend said, hey, we should lead women's retreats. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? We'll do it. And so we started. Jennifer Loudon has been my writing coach, but she used to do a lot of work around self-care as well. So those are probably the two strongest in that area. And then Susan Piver is my meditation teacher, and I'm part of her open heart community. They have a sangha that meets every morning at 9 to meditate together and have great discussion. And that has been an anchor the last few years for sure to show up there. And our practice is an open-eyed practice, which I hated in the beginning, I'll be honest, because I was so used to closing my eyes so I could go within. But the open-eyed helps us to be awake in our life. We don't have to go anywhere else, and we can be here for what's really here, not the stories, but the truth. And I just feel like it's been such an important part of opening this compassion within me, that also my journey with Nate just opened up in a way that I don't know if it ever would have without it.
Well, it all makes sense because, as you say, there's so much negative in the world today. And you wake up in the morning and you turn the news on and it's just all negative, whether it's local, whether it's national, whatever, And I usually just turn it on to get the weather, but,
sometimes that's negative too.
something that, yes. Yeah, around here, yeah. So, all this makes so much sense to, start your day off on a positive note as opposed to...
And other important mentors, let me just say before we move on, the people who've created the Invitation to Change, are that I get to sit in rooms with them and discuss these ideas with them. And they're so open to evolving and hearing from us how these ideas are playing out in real lives. And
Can you share their names or psychologists?
Sure.
Yeah.
Jeff Foote and Ken Carpenter are the two main ones that are involved. Carrie Wilkins is another one who's less involved in the actual group trainings. But they're phenomenal human beings and just leading the way with love. So, yeah, grateful to be part of their team.
That's great.
Well, they're lucky to have you too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We love each other very well, all of us. It's a wonderful group.
I have to ask a quick question. I hope we have time.
Yeah, we're
About
fine.
you talk about self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, sometimes people get that as,
Woo woo. Yeah.
well, yeah. And I think you are really focused. It's deeper.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more of grounding and looking within and reflecting.
Yeah.
Can you just elaborate on that? Because it's so important.
Yeah, thank you. It is because self-care, especially these days, is so monetized and it's everywhere and it's,
No,
you
it's not about getting your nails done.
It could be, but right. I'm looking at true self-care that's really going to nourish and fuel you. Yeah. So let me see if I can get Renee Trudeau's definition correct. Self-care is the art of attuning and responding to your needs and desires moment by moment. And whenever I share that, I'm like, we could spend hours just breaking that down, right? So you have to know that you have needs and desires. You have to let that be okay. You have to pay attention to them, and you also have to respond to them. So let's just start there. And then I've kind of simplified that to just, honoring yourself moment by moment, really. And it is that checking in. And so many of us are so attuned to everyone else, particularly if you have loved ones who struggle. You are focused outward on knowing what they need, right? And thinking about meeting all of those needs. So taking the time to actually say, but wait a minute, what's going on in me? What am I feeling right now? What do I need? What do I want? And answering those questions and then honoring it, respecting it instead of judging it or criticizing it or thinking, well, I shouldn't need that,
Right.
That's weak, that's silly. I know that. Yeah. And it's so much more than just the physical needs that we think of. So I think of it as body, mind, heart, and spirit care.
And I think, you give when you're in the throes of, caring for someone who's struggling, you're giving so much energy out that, and then, we were told all the time, do something for yourself, go away. But you felt guilty for doing it.
Yeah, sure. You can. And what I would say is the self-care is the foundation that sustains you to be able to do the other stuff. And let's be clear, you're going to show up a lot better in your relationships. And ultimately the people, when they see that, start saying, isn't it time to go on another retreat? Don't you think you should go in your room and take a time out to take care of you? It's a different reframing. Yeah.
Well, they say that the power is in the pause, okay? Yeah. And I think when we pause our lives, and they say the person who masters patience ends up being a great master of their life. So, and I think that's just that slowing down and listening and
being present.
In presence. And, we can say all those things, but it's also putting them into practice on a regular basis. So I think that's probably why the morning pages are so powerful, because you do them before you do anything else.
Yeah. And they give me sometimes it's a recapping what yesterday was and what's coming today. So it helps me also set the tone for what do I need this day?
I'm sure sometimes you look at it, because I know when I do it, I'm like, wow, that was really good. You read it a few days later, or like, wow. So there's something to that. But I am still working on that, and I am a work in progress, and I'm working on it. So, but when I do it, I'm glad that I did.
But it's amazing what wisdom rises up. And then sometimes in my morning pages, I'll end by asking, love, what would you have me know? Which is a practice I stole from Liz Gilbert. But what love says, oh my gosh, it is so tender and sweet, and it's never mean. And it's like, it's often just take care of you, honor your tender heart and slow down and whatever. So you can ask that. Anybody can ask that anytime. And what love would do is so different than what conditioned me going at warp speed would do. So taking that pause and tuning in. Thanks for asking that question, Ellen.
I think about things as I'm trying to get to sleep at night, and I'm tossing and turning, and my mind's racing. And I used to get up in the middle of the night and just make as we were thinking about, it wasn't even thinking about writing the book. It was just my thoughts. I would get up and write them in this notebook,
And they're very private, because you can't read his writing.
Oh, you should talk. You should talk. But because if I didn't get up then, I would forget it in the morning.
Sure.
So I had to get it on paper. As my thoughts were still fresh.
Well, we have very different perspectives, just as different people, as male and female, and but just being able to know where you're coming from, and those thoughts that do come in the middle of the night sometimes are very profound, and just like your dreams, just there's really sometimes they don't seem to make any sense, and other times they're profound, and I'm sure they always make sense, but it's just trying to decipher it all. But
one of the pearls of wisdom, Barb, I love all that you're doing, and I just want to give you the opportunity to share anything we may not have covered. during our conversation. Because everybody knows somebody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Everybody is, trying to sort it out.
Right. Probably going to come back to something I've already said, but, meet yourself where you are with honor and respect and compassion. Meet your loved ones where they are with honor and respect and compassion. And come with curiosity and an open mind and, get to really know yourself and what you need and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And be willing to honor that.
Yeah, for yourself and others.
And I love the phrase, in the process of, because if you're not there yet, I'm in the process of learning how to do this differently. I'm in the process of slowing down more. I'm in the process of listening to my body more, and it cuts us some slack. And we're working in the right direction and working on
patience
the things that we want to improve.
And thank you for saying that, Linda, because yes, I love the idea of practices and I love the idea of practicing, like being willing to try things and then reassess. How did that go? Don't make it right or wrong, but like, okay, what did I learn from this? There's so many opportunities. And then.
But it's our humanness that makes us a better friend, makes us a better spouse, a better sister, a better parent. Yeah. I keep saying if you had a friend that always did everything so perfectly, they wouldn't get us,
Be real. Lean into what's real. That is what I like. Human is messy. Life is messy.
Yes, but, I just know that what you're sharing, what, Ellen has shared about her journey with Katie and what we share, about our journey with Emily, it's made us a safe space and has opened so many doors to people we would have never met who, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they've gone through the same thing, but they know with what we've experienced, we would never judge anybody else's walk.
Well, that's another thing. Don't be afraid to talk with people about what's going on, because that puts you in isolation and just furthers the stigma. So, every time I have, along the way, anytime I told somebody what was going on, somebody will say, oh, I would never have told you this if you hadn't told me that. So you don't know, and you can assume. Tom's had the experience with somebody he's playing tennis with. He shares something about what was going on with Nate, and we find out they know that experience, So the more we open doors and hearts to each other, connection.
Yeah. I do think it's harder. For men to do that.
Oh, absolutely. I know things are more open. There's more talk about it, but there's still so many out there that need the help that can't get it, and it's just so frustrating to me that to still hear people say, "Oh, I got lucky," and luck shouldn't have anything to do with it. So that's the frustrating part.
But I also believe that there are no coincidences, and that we have to learn to tap into the subtle things that maybe we don't pay attention to too. So I wanted to ask you one more thing before we go. 111 invitations. Okay, what is the significance of 111?
I'm going to disappoint you, Linda.
You couldn't disappoint me.
I know it's an angel number, but that's all I know, really. And it came to me, that title. So I was literally in a massage. I had over 200 pieces written. I did not know how to choose how many were going to go in there. 111 invitations dropped in. I was like, I love it. I have a number now. And I loved the idea of invitation. And I do have another one I want to read if we have time. But
that's why I didn't know. That would be great. We would love it if you would read something from 111 invitations again. But the number keeps popping up for you, the 111. So it's not like it was just a one-time thing. So
no, and it becomes, other people will see it and they'll say, I thought of you because I saw this. And it became a thing for Nate and I, so we would notice the number everywhere. So yes, when I saw that this episode was 156, I said, 5 and 6 add up to 11. So there's my 111. So it's I don't know.
Whenever you see that, it always gives me pause. Because Katie used to say the same thing. There's an angel.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
and so
Wow.
all the time.
I saw a card about it the other day. We walked into a shop, and actually they had a card up, 111, intuition, so it's about trusting your guidance and your heart. And so it's a very good fit for me.
Wow, we would love it if you would read something else from your book.
All right. It's a perfect time to read this one, too, because this is called The Angels Want. The angels want us to belly laugh till it hurts, exploding in silent reverie with tears streaming down our cheeks. That's the word I was looking for earlier. The angels want us to embrace all that is, the richness of human experience, the fullness of life, the depth and breadth of emotion, longing and yearning. The angels want us to remember who we are, why we are here, and that love is our fuel. The angels want us to dance and sing with wild abandon, letting go of the cares of the world, arms reaching wide, face uplifted to the heavens, heart open. The angels want us to live and love with all our heart, even though love always hurts, to take the risk, to glean the gold. The angels want us to remember what it is that makes our soul sing, to play with our exquisite, unique heart song, to laugh, to cry, to cheer. The angels want us to get lost in extreme ecstasy and bathe in unimaginable grief, allowing the emotions to wash over and through us, cleansing, refreshing, and rebirthing as they flow. The angels want us to live while we are here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Barb.
Beautiful.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Ah,
You're welcome.
it's wonderful.
A great opportunity. I appreciate talking with you all.
You're very
I want to
special.
just sit and
Very
listen to
special.
you read this book. I'm going to have to listen to the
audio version.
audio because, just beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, listeners. It's been an honor to be here for you and have you be able to listen to Barb. Thank you, Barb Klein. You're amazing and you inspire us all. And you are the ultimate possibilitator. We'd like to thank Rockbox Recording and Production and Scott Fitzgerald, our outstanding sound engineer, for producing this podcast and so much more.
Please spread the word about Once Shattered, picking up the pieces. Please rate, review, share, and subscribe on the podcast platform you're listening to us on. Learn more about Linda and Jack, founders of the Emily Connection, the nonprofit formed in their daughter's memory, and their award-winning book, Emily, the story of a girl and her family hijacked by anorexia, available on Amazon.
And as always, thank you to our co-host, our colorful co-host, Ellen Bennett, who brings over 25 years of lived experience, community engagement, and so much advocacy, raising awareness and challenging the stigma, that terrible stigma that's associated with eating disorders and on mental health. The discussions that we have here with all our guests are incredibly important as they emphasize the importance of the mental health for every one of us. So thank you, listeners.